Hey there everyone, Mychal A. Bryan here from the Oraculos School of Astrology. And before we dive into today's program, I just want to say a major thank you to all of you who've been supporting my work by purchasing my books, Mastering Traditional Astrology, Horary Astrology and the Natal Promise, and the New Western Medical Astrology. Thank you all so much for supporting the work that we do over here and for supporting me as a self-published author. And if you haven't already purchased my books, please make sure to go over on Amazon and grab yourself copies today so that you can dive into this wonderful world of magical astrology that I've curated for you within these 3 books. And if you've already purchased copies of these books, then please make sure to leave us a review over on Amazon, because that is how Amazon supports me as a self-published author. Once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and do enjoy today's program. Now let's move on to the hard aspect combination of Saturn and Neptune. As I think about things that I really don't like, astrologically speaking, the hard aspect combination of Saturn and Neptune is really on the top of the list. And the reason for that is because when I think about Saturn and Neptune, I think about the card, the 8 of Cups in the tarot, which has the esoteric title, the Lord of Abandoned Success. Saturn and Neptune in any combination is a very antithetical combination. And the reason for that is because Saturn is representing stability and Neptune is representing everything that undermines and that completely washes away the stability that a person has established in their lives. When I was a child, there was a song that we would sing in class at the beginning of the day when we would have worship. And the song said, "The foolish man built his house upon the sand, and the rain came tumbling down." And that is what it feels like when we have Saturn and Neptune in hard aspect combination. Saturn is representing everything that we want to establish for ourselves, everything that we want to erect and make firm for ourselves within this lifetime, and Neptune is representing the rain that comes tumbling down and that completely washes away our achievements. Even more apt of a visualization than the rain coming down and washing away our achievements would be if a person tried to build a home in the middle of the ocean. If we think about that, the ocean is an awful environment to try to erect a man-made structure within. This doesn't say that it's impossible, but it is an awful, turbulent environment, and comparatively, it makes far more sense to try to build your house on firm, dry ground than to build it in the ocean. And for those of us who come from countries that are afflicted by hurricanes on an annual basis, we know that it probably is even a better idea to build your house far from the ocean. Even though people tend to romanticize having a house on the beach, when you come from a country that's afflicted by hurricanes on an annual basis, you realize that having a house on the beach is only nice in theory, because the reality of that is that your house on the beach is going to have mold annually, and your house on the beach is going to be that much more susceptible to being completely obliterated by the rising tides of the ocean when the hurricane actually does strike. So the idea of Saturn and Neptune is a very bad idea together in general, because Saturn is the scaffolding of our lives that is meant to hold us in place, and that's meant to prevent our lives from falling into abject chaos when we face challenging circumstances. And when our Saturn is afflicted because it's in hard aspect with Neptune, that can oftentimes make it feel as if we have no scaffolding, we have no foundation, we have no structural pillars of support. We have nothing that actually allows us to be safe. We have nothing that actually allows us to fall back on. Because as we try to fall back on the pillars that are meant to support us, it feels as if those pillars have cracks within their foundation because they weren't poured properly to begin with. So the combination of Saturn and Uranus is a very, very, very challenging combination astrologically speaking. Even though the hard aspect of Saturn and Neptune may be a generational sort of aspect, where many children being born within a particular period of time will come into the world with the Saturn and Neptune in hard aspect, it is still uncanny how, when this combination is present, it seems to be effective. And it doesn't matter if this combination is angular, or if this combination is succedent, or if this combination is cadent. It seems as if the Saturn-Neptune in hard aspect is always going to do something, especially the tighter that hard aspect is. Now, within our charts, we know that we cannot look at simply one hard aspect combination and use that to describe the entirety of a person's life. So a person may have Saturn and Neptune in hard aspect, but still find a way to create a feeling of structure and support and firmness and longevity and ambition and success within their lives. However, I still feel as if even in the charts of people who have found a way to be successful, having the Saturn-Neptune present within their charts, there can still feel as if there is a void or a hole someplace where something more firm and lasting should be. So even though a person might have the Saturn and Neptune present within their chart and they build the pillars of support and protection within their lives, they might still feel as if those pillars are, in a sense, hollow on the inside, which causes them to not necessarily feel they can trust or fully rely on those pillars in the ways that they would like to. Therefore, having Saturn and Neptune in hard aspect can set a person up to having a roving spirit within this lifetime, where they are constantly seeking to find a way to fill that sense of void, and that can lead to a rather introspective spiritual life. And at the same time, for other people, that can also lead to a life that feels empty. And in the process of navigating that emptiness, those people may turn towards things to try to fill that hole that's present within their lives, even if those things aren't the healthiest things in the world. Another thing that's challenging about Saturn and Neptune in hard aspect combination is that this combination has to do with the unhampered progress of malady. Saturn and Neptune represents two planets that are associated with illness, sickness, and things that foundationally debilitate our health. Oftentimes when people have their luminaries in hard aspect with Saturn, that can represent that those people are having some generational health challenge that they're inheriting from the family member that corresponds with the luminary in question. Moon Saturn in hard aspects can represent having generational health challenges that we inherit from our mother. Sun Saturn in hard aspect can represent having generational health challenges that we inherit from our father. It's one of the things that I always look for from a medical astrology perspective. From a positive perspective, Saturn and Neptune is a powerful combination as far as renunciation is concerned. Neptune has to do with disappointment. Saturn has to do with our material world. Therefore, Saturn and Neptune in hard aspects combination can represent a sense of us being disillusioned by the trappings of the material world. So when a person has Saturn and Neptune in hard aspect, this can be something that leads them towards living a monastic lifestyle or living in a monastery, or it can be something that leads them down the path of doing some form of voluntary or altruistic work as their life's calling. Because when we have Saturn and Neptune in a hard aspect, we realize that the world is a changeable place, but it's a changeable place for everyone. And so oftentimes people who have this combination can gravitate towards forms of work that allow them to stand in a role of support for others around them because they realize that others around them are in genuine need of support. And this realization is more profound for the Saturn-Neptune person because the Saturn-Neptune person has already experienced the ways in which the world can let a person down. And as a result of that, when we have Saturn and Neptune in hard aspect, we become that much more determined to create a better world for others around us so that other people can experience a life of stability and ease, even if we ourselves have not within this lifetime.